Groove right in while we try to do some landing.
I'm here at Mexico with Jillian Falconi from Falcon Social, and within my interview series about social media monitoring and management. So can you please introduce yourself on Falcon Social?
Yeah, definitely. A pleasure. As you said, my name is Jillian Falconi and I'm operating as VP of Marketing here at Falcon Social. I joined Falcon about 3 months ago, where we basically started almost a transformation of what our company is going to be in the next 6 to 12 months. What we're in is very much looking into that space of where is social heading towards and what are actually the real needs of businesses that it can cover. So a lot of our time is actually spent on having relationships with both our customers and potential customers, understanding not just what the needs are within social, but what are the needs in digital and how social relates to it.
So what is your idea about where the social media management is heading to?
Well, that question has multiple answers, because the answer to that question depends on what type of company it is, what are their use cases, and what are the main problems that they're trying to solve with social. If you tell me what social is heading towards, I think actually social is going into changing the dynamics of marketing as we thought about it. As marketeers, we tend to say that we want to manage customer experience, we want to build our relationship with customers, but what does that really mean when, if you look at the basis of advertising and the fact that we're purely sending messages out, but we have limited tools for actually responding? What I think that we see social and where it's diverging towards is that it's actually forcing us as brands or as companies to have more conversations. Those conversations don't only take place in marketing channels, which initially is how we could say we saw the networks as, but it also happens in forms of customer service, it happens in forms of PR. So it takes different shapes and forms, and in my opinion, it's really changing the whole way and dynamics in terms of how we understand marketing. At the same time, thinking about the data that we get because of the social channels, it actually also allows us to be more personal with people in a scalable way, because while the channel gives us the opportunity of having one-to-one conversations, it actually also gives us the data to understand, okay, who do we speak to? Because it's like entering a room and me talking to you and trying to tell you immediately that I think I know who you are. Right now I can't do it, because all I can say is I can see what you're wearing and I can see the color of your eyes and I make an assumption about you. But because of data, all of a sudden I see a whole cloud of patterns of things you like, things you're interested in, things you do, which means that I can build a relationship much more personal, much faster, without having to inquire a million questions for us to get there.
But if you talk about data, you always have to talk about a holistic view on data. So far, social media was more about the social mentions. Are you saying that if we talk about the future of social and the trends we're heading to, that social media is integrated in all the other marketing activities?
I would say yes. I think we're in a journey. I don't know whether it's going to be called social by the time that we reach there, because let's be honest with each other, technology changes constantly and we adapt ourselves to it. But I do think that what's happening right now is that social is finding its way not across marketing channels only, but across the business organization. So in some way, it actually changes the dynamics of how do we think about businesses and structures of businesses, because we see that a conversation with a customer and your chance to win and keep a customer it's not just happening on the marketing field, it's happening in sales, it's happening in account management. So that changes the whole dynamics. In the same way as well for, I would say, the marketing side of it, it means that you basically have cross-device, cross-network, so there's so many different touch points that, yes, it changes not just the dynamics of how we do marketing, but the dynamics of how we do business and organize our businesses as such.
But still, I want to get one other question, because if we talk about the integration of social in the whole digital activity stack, then I would ask the question whether this is the end of social media engagement management, which was always very much siloed on the social media activity.
I would argue that it's actually the metamorphosis of it into something much, much bigger. If you think about the biggest challenge of marketeers, right, that is that a huge proportion of our budgets are wasted because we're trying to guess where our customers are and are they ready to talk to us. It's two very big questions that we try to manage at the same time. What social does for us is actually that it allows us to understand who is most likely to be our customer based on several data points. It is not just based on company size, it's based on job roles, and there's a lot of information that exists in social channels about who we are as people, who we are as businesses, that doesn't exist in traditional marketing channels. So it affects everything, because we used to basically assume that because a person has visited these 3 websites, he is my customer. Actually now we know who the person is, we know where he's at, we know information about what drives him, what makes him happy. We might not know it at an individual level, but for example with Facebook topic data, we know a lot of these things on aggregated level. So yes, I do think that it influences all other channels, because you rethink whether it's really bringing me to my right audience. Simple as that.
How far is the understanding in the corporate world on this topic?
I have a lot of mixed feelings about that. If you think about it, I've been working in a B2B landscape for the last 12 years. And I think that we're only starting. If you think about where social is at, it's now that mainstream is recognizing social as an advertising channel. So the conversations and the budgets are very much driven on things like ad spend in social channels. So it is happening, but I would say definitely, the revolution is not there. We're still in early days. But the thing that we've learned about technology in general is that the moment that you hit that mass, it all of a sudden just skyrockets. So I don't think it's something that we're going to be at 50 years, but it's actually something that's going to happen in the future, not too far away. I wish I could describe when, but then I would definitely be rich, because I could predict the future.
Great, thank you for the interview.
You're welcome.